হচ্ছিল আমি ধ্রুপদকে কানেক্ট করতে পারছি, এবং আমার বিশ্বাস নতুন যারা রিডার হবেন এই বইটাতে আপনিও আপনার বাচ্চাদেরকে খুব চমৎকার ভাবে কানেক্ট করতে পারবেন, এবং আমার মনে হয় খুব বেটার আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিংটা হবে আমার বাচ্চা এই ধরনের আচরণ কেন করে, কেন এইভাবে আচরণ করছে, বা আমি এই আচরণের করার পরে কি করব, এটা বোঝার জন্য এই বইটা আমার মনে হচ্ছে খুব চমৎকার ভাবে সাহায্য করবে। এই বইটা পড়তে গিয়ে যে বিষয়টা আমাকে ভীষণভাবে আন্দোলিত করেছে সেটা হচ্ছে অটিজমের প্রত্যেকটা মানুষ আলাদা আলাদা, অথচ এটা প্রত্যেকেই কিন্তু একটা বিশেষভাবে বৈশিষ্ট্য সম্পন্ন, কারণ এরা একই পরিবেশে একই রুটিনে বা একই কাজ বারবার করতে স্বাচ্ছন্দ্য বোধ করে, একই পরিবেশে থাকতেই স্বাচ্ছন্দ্য বোধ করে। কিন্তু আমাদের জীবনের তাগিদেই আমাদের পরিবেশ বা পারিপার্শ্বিকতা তার কনটেক্সট প্রতিনিয়তই পাল্টায়, আর এই পরিবর্তিত পরিস্থিতির সাথে এই বাচ্চাগুলো তাদের নিজেদেরকে খাপ খাওয়াতে বা মানিয়ে নিতে প্রতিনিয়ত যুদ্ধ করে, নিজের সাথে যুদ্ধ করে, পরিবেশের সাথে যুদ্ধ করে। ওরা যে এই যুদ্ধটা করছে আমরা কিন্তু ওদের এই যুদ্ধের কষ্টটা দেখি না, আমরা দেখি এই যুদ্ধ করতে গিয়ে ও যে আচরণগুলো করে সেই আচরণগুলো যা বাবা মা হিসেবে আমাদের মেনে নেওয়া যেমন কঠিন, তেমনি মানতে না পারাটাও কঠিন। এখানে আসলে আমার সত্যি কথা বলতে যে আমার বাচ্চা তার কথা আমাকে প্রকাশ করতে পারছে না, এই কষ্টটা যেমন আমি ধারণ করি, আমি আমার বাচ্চাটাকে অন্য বাবা মার মতো করে বুঝতে পারছি না এই কষ্টটাও কিন্তু আমি ধারণ করি। তার সাথে তো আমার চারপাশের সেন দৃষ্টি সেটা আমাকে সহ্যই করতে হচ্ছে। তো সবকিছু মিলে মাঝে মাঝে মানে আমার নিজেরই মনে হতো, আমি একজন শিক্ষিত কর্মজীবী মানুষ, তারপরও আমার নিজের প্রায় মনে হতো আমি কি কোথাও ভুল করছি, আমার কি কোথাও ভুল ছিল, আমার কি কোথাও অন্যায় ছিল। সত্যি কি দেয়ার ইজ নো লাইট এট দ্য এন্ড অফ দ্য টানেল। তবে যেটা বললাম ওই যে 23 বছরের অভিজ্ঞতা আর অম্লমধুর এই অভিজ্ঞতাগুলো নিয়ে যখন আমি এই বইটা পড়তে শুরু করলাম তখন মনে হচ্ছিল আমি এই টানেলটার একদম শেষ প্রান্তে কোথাও একটা আলো দেখতে পাচ্ছিলাম। ডক্টর শোর তার এই বইটাতে এমন ভাবে সবকিছু বর্ণনা করেছেন, জীবনের প্রতিটা পর্যায়, প্রতিটা ক্ষেত্র, প্রতিটা স্টেপকে এমন ভাবে বর্ণনা করেছেন, আমার মনে হচ্ছে যে আমি ভীষণভাবে এই জায়গাটাতে নিজেকে আমার ছেলেটাকে কানেক্ট করতে পারছিলাম, অনেক বেশি বোঝার জায়গাটা আমাকে আমাকে যেমন অনুপ্রেরণা প্রেরণা দিয়েছে, তেমনি শক্তি জুগিয়েছে, তেমনি আরেকটু বলবো যে আমাকে বোঝার জন্য, ওকে বোঝার জন্য, ওর বিভিন্ন কর্মকাণ্ড বোঝার জন্য আমাকে খুব বড় একটা রিসোর্স বা স্ট্রেংথ দিয়েছে। আমার বিশ্বাস যে প্রতিটা বাবা মাকেই এই এবং প্রফেশনালসকেই এই স্ট্রেংথটা দেবে, এবং সেই জন্যই আমার মনে হয় প্রতিটা মানুষের, প্রতিটা বাবা মা, প্রতিটা প্রফেশনালসের, শুধু তাই না আমাদের চারপাশের আমাদের পরিবেশে যারা এই বাচ্চাদেরকে একটু বুঝতে চান বা একটু সংবেদনশীল তাদেরই এই বইটা পড়া উচিত। সেই কারণে সূচনা ফাউন্ডেশনের প্রতি আমার বিশেষভাবে অনুরোধ থাকবে এই বইটা যাতে প্রতিটা বাবা মা বা ম্যাক্সিমাম বাবা মা পড়তে পারেন সেই বিষয়ে যেন একটু দৃষ্টি রাখি আমরা। আর যেটা বললাম বইটা এত স্বাভাবিক সাবলীল সাধারণ একটা বাংলায় লেখা যে এটা পড়ার জন্য উচ্চ মার্গীয় কোনো শিক্ষার দরকার হয় না, খুব সাধারণ বাংলা পড়তে পারলেই সে বুঝতে পারবে। তো সেই কারণে আমার মনে হয় এই বইটা পড়লে আপনার এবং আপনার সন্তান এবং আপনার শিক্ষার্থী বা আপনার পেশেন্ট তাদেরকে বোঝা আপনার জন্য অত্যন্ত সহজ হবে বলে আমার বিশ্বাস, আমি দৃঢ়ভাবে বিশ্বাস করি। এই জন্যই আমি বাংলাদেশের সকল বাবা মা এবং প্রফেশনালসদের পক্ষ থেকে I would like to convey my heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Dr. Professor Dr. Shore for sharing such an inspirational book with us. এবং আমাকে এই বইটা রিভিউ করতে দেওয়ার সুযোগ দেওয়ার জন্য সাইমা আপার প্রতি আমার বিশেষ সশ্রদ্ধ কৃতজ্ঞতা। সকলের প্রতি আমার শুভকামনা থাকবে, সকলেই ভালো থাকবেন। ধন্যবাদ সবাইকে। থ্যাংক ইউ লাল ভাই।
Thank you, Nigar Rahman Appa. Actually, Nigar Rahman Appa said that she is not only the reviewer of this book, she has a great journey of one of his child, a son, 23 years of age, with the autism spectrum disorder. And Nigar Rahman also correlates the journey of the Stephen Show written in this book and the journey of her own child in the very some barriers, some social barriers she overcomes, she struggle, and how to develop the child's behavior and other issues. And Nigar Rahman said she learned a lot from this book regarding to her child rearing, and that she can understood her child, the autism and his behavior from this book very much well. And Nigar Rahman said this book should be disseminated all the parents with the autism spectrum disorder in Bangladesh by the initiative of Shuchona Foundations. And Nigar Rahman also give the thanks to Saima Wazed and also give the thanks to Shuchona Foundation and Stephen Shore for these book publications. And thank you, Nigar Rahman, and thank you. Now I'm inviting a self-advocate from Bangladesh, and she's nothing but the Adiba Ibnat Poshla. I am inviting Adiba Ibnat Poshla. She is a self-advocate on this spectrum in Bangladesh, and Poshla is an artist who owns her own Facebook page called Poshla's Creation and works with the lifestyle brand as a design assistant. Welcome, Adiba Ibnat Poshla. আমি আদিবা ইবনাত পশলাকে তার বক্তব্য দেওয়ার জন্য অনুরোধ করছি এবং আদিবা ইবনাত পশলার কিন্তু একটা ফেসবুক পেজ আছে যেটার নাম হচ্ছে পশলাস ক্রিয়েশন। আমি সবাইকে অনুরোধ করব সেই ফেসবুক পেজে পশলাকে লাইক দিতে। আমি পশলাকে এখন কথা বলছি, পশলাকে কিছু বলার জন্য অনুরোধ করছি। আদিবা ইবনাত পশলা।
Good morning. Gratitude to Shuchona Foundation. I am Poshla, a person with autism spectrum disorder. To me, autism and challenges are parallel. Thus, I have to face many challenges. During childhood, cope with new environment and persons was great challenge for me. While I was a student of mainstream school, I could not make friendship with my classmates. Did not like those lessons also. I like to play in the playground rather talking with my peers or sitting in the classroom. Due to this unusualness, I have to leave that school. My parents admit me in a special school. Oh, it was very comfortable and enjoying. Here, no pressure to learn those lessons, and I can do whichever with like. Also, I got the opportunity to express my thoughts, liking, ceremony through paintings, which is my special skills. I took part in some art competitions and achieved some prestigious awards, especially in 2011. My artwork was selected for Prime Minister official card and I was honored. In 2017, honored by Honorable Prime Minister as successful person overcoming the limitations of autism. I also got the opportunity to work as cover artist of the great book Unique Glimpse. I can't express my feelings of joy to be a part the unveiling ceremony of the book. Cordial thanks to Saima Auntie. Today, this special event is for Stephen Shore. I met him several times. He is an inspiration and guide for all the person with ASD Best wishes for his successful achievement. Now, I have started my professional journey as design assistant at Photo Limited. Here, I can work comfortably and ease per my choice. I am also the owner and designer of Costless Creation, a online shop. In all my workplace, I need support from my mom for communication and management. I can't go along to my workplace, market, or anywhere. It's a great challenge for me. Thank you all.
Thank you, Poshla, for your kind words, and congratulate you again for your all the achievements. And now, I previously said the work of Shuchona Foundation is not confined only with the autism or only the mental health disorders or any other development sectors. Shuchona Foundation is working in very, very discrete area of our development. And Shuchona Foundation and World Food Program has a working relationship. We are like-minded in our vision, which in our own way works towards the sustainable development goal. Now I am inviting Ms. Jan Pierce, Country Director of World Food Program, to say few words. Ms. Jan Pierce, I am inviting you to say a few words regarding this occasion.
Thank you very much. Honourable Chairperson of the Shuchona Foundation, Honourable Speaker of the Parliament, Dr. Shaw, and the very inspirational Adiba, who we just heard from, and ladies and gentlemen. It's a real honour to be invited today to speak and take part in the launching of the translation of this book, a book that contributes to raising awareness of people on the autism spectrum. Approximately 1 in every 50 persons is on the autism spectrum, with men 4 times more likely to be diagnosed than women. The discussion is not yet finalised on why there is this gender imbalance, but some think that it might be because women and girls, given their social conditioning, are better at masking their disorder and thus are less diagnosed. If this is so, then possibly 2, even 3 in every 100 persons could be on the spectrum. In fact, several may not even realise they are due to a lack of diagnosis and awareness. So what does this mean for me as the manager of an organisation which employs around 500 people in Bangladesh? It means that it's likely that 10, possibly 15 of my colleagues are struggling in one way or another with things that we, neurotypical individuals, find completely normal. In fact, I recently learned that a colleague who I have known for many years is on the autism spectrum. I always knew him as somebody with a good sense of humour and who could think outside the box. But through discussing this with him, I learned new things. I learned of how hard it can be to try and fit in, and that often people with neurodevelopmental disorders feel they must hide their disability. I also learned about the need for people on the spectrum to have things to be predictable and logical. Now I better understand where his creativity comes from. His habit of looking at every detail when reading a text may seem pedantic, but what a remarkable asset for my office that aims to produce the high quality reporting on complex matters. We must be willing to embrace people like my colleague so that they can thrive in a world that might not always be easy to navigate, but which could benefit so much from them. The message I want to share today is that the world is very much welcoming people like my colleague and wanting them to be part of it. And that is why the translation of a book like this is so important. It raises awareness in Bangladesh and promotes tolerance and understanding of autism and disabilities in general. It also provides representation and validates the lived experience of those living with these disorders. As an organisation, WFP is committed to being inclusive for the people we serve, but also inclusive for the people we employ. We do not exclude people based on their disability, nor do we hinder them from progressing within the organisation. In 2020, WFP developed its first disability inclusion roadmap, mainstreaming the rights of persons with disabilities into WFP operations, as well as providing a foundation for disability inclusion across the organization. In Bangladesh, we have taken the first steps in ensuring that inclusiveness is embedded in our programming. We are reviewing all existing communication materials, adding disability as a vulnerability criteria for targeting, and we are consulting with beneficiaries to better understand and adapt to their needs. We have selected Cox's Bazar to be the first location. But this remains a relatively new area of work for us, and we still have a lot to learn. Our partnership with the Shuchona Foundation is therefore so crucial, bringing its vast experience to the Mother and Child Benefit Program that we do with the Ministry of Women and Children Affairs. This program, which WFP has been supporting for the last 5 years, aims at empowering mothers and provides training on early stimulation and child development, training designed by the Shuchona Foundation team. Through our close collaboration and expertise sharing, this program, which aims to reach 6.5 million mothers by 2026, is strengthened, thus ensuring the proper cognitive and psychosocial development of young children, the future generation of Bangladesh. Thank you for inviting me today. The Shuchona Foundation's commitment to advocating for people with disabilities has been nothing short of exemplary, and I congratulate you on today's launch and the milestones achieved to date, and wish you many more to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jen Pierce, for your kind words and support with the Shuchona Foundations, and say a few words regarding this occasion and these books. Now you are going to the core features of this today's session, the panel discussion featuring Dr. Stephen Shore and Ms. Saima Wazed. Pracheer Periye বইটি নিয়ে Ms. Saima Wazedের সাথে স্টিফেন শোরের কথোপকথন আমরা শুনবো। একটা ইনফর্মাল ওয়েতে এটা হবে। ইংরেজি ভাষায় ওনারা যেটি বলবেন সেটিকে আমি ছোট করে বাংলায় সকলের জন্য খানিকটা সিনোপসিসটি বলে দেব। তার আগে আমি ইন্ট্রোডিউসিং Mr. Stephen Shore. Previously, he was diagnosed with the atypical development with strong autistic tendencies and non-verbal at the age of 4. He completed his doctorate in special education in Boston University. Stephen now works in a clinical assistant professor at the RSA School of Education at Adelphi University. He is teaching courses in special education and autism as part of his work on empowering people on the autism spectrum to develop their capacities to the fullest form. And he is the author of the book, Beyond the World. That book, at last, finally translated in Bangla in the name of Pracheer Periye. And before I am introducing Ms. Saima Wazed, I am give some introduction and some synopsis of this book. This book is the journey of Stephen Shore. This book is the struggling of the Stephen Shore, and this book is the success and achievement of the Stephen Shore. And like the Ms. Nigar Rahman, I, as a professional, I also learned a lot when I read this book, and I know many new things, and I changed my mind in very ways after reading this book. And the more important things of this book is the book is very much transparent. Especially when we read out the autobiography, some authors hide some things from their autobiography in many ways. But this Stephen Shore is very much transparent and write everything, every aspect of his life from every corner from his life. So I am congratulating Stephen Shore again for the Beyond the World, and congratulates the team, those who are working in this book translation in Bangla. Now I am introducing Ms. Saima Wazed. Actually, Ms. Saima Wazed is known to all. She has many hats, actually, and she is a chairperson of Shuchona Foundation, and she is a licensed school psychologist, nationally certified in the US, and a specialist in clinical psychology. A graduate from the Barry University in Florida, she is an expert on neurodevelopmental disorder and mental health, an accomplished speaker whose efforts has led to international awareness, policy, and program changes, and the adaptation of the 3 international resolutions at the UN and WHO. She is our pride. And she is currently an advisor to the DG of WHO on mental health and autism, and a member of the WHO's expert advisory panel on mental health, and she has been recently appointed as the thematic ambassador for vulnerability of the Climate Vulnerable Forum. Additionally, she is the chairperson of Bangladesh National Advisory Committee for Autism and Neurodevelopmental Disorders and chief advisor for National Mental Health Strategic Plan Working Group. She is also the focal person for disability for the Ministry of Disaster Management and Relief. And currently, she is pursuing a doctoral degree from Barry University and an instructor and clinical supervisor at Adrian Dominican School of Education, Barry University, USA. But her most popular identity is she is an autism-friendly advocate and chairperson of Shuchona Foundation. Now I am starting the conversation with the Mark Shore and Saima Appa. That is, first I am trying to asking Stephen Shore regarding his book. The first question to the Stephen Shore: what was your inspiration behind writing the book Beyond the World? Please, Mr. Stephen Shore.
Thank you very much. It is a great honor to be with you today. And I thank you. I thank Saima and everybody here and everybody involved in Shuchona Foundation and the hard work that they've done in making an accurate translation of my book. So what is my inspiration in writing Beyond the Wall? I feel that I am very lucky. I was very lucky to have parents who refuted professional recommendations for institutionalization in favor of what we today would term as an intensive home-based early intervention program. And it was so great to hear Jane talk about the emphasis and the focus on teaching mothers, because that's where it starts. It starts with the parents. And usually it is with the mother. The mother is usually charged, societally wise, in taking a major role in raising their children. And my mother, she really, what it was just a desperate attempt in trying to reach her child. She was not a psychologist. She was not an educator. She was just someone trying to figure out how to reach her kid. And it turned out that by relying on her instincts, she was able to provide today what we have names for: intensive early intervention, movement, music, sensory integration, narration, and imitation. And along with that, support from some key professionals, psychologists, educators, and now from my wife, who I've been married to for over 31 years. And I believe I have a moral imperative to return this favor, you might say, and this good fortune to the autism community. And that is what motivated me to write my book.
থ্যাংক ইউ স্টিফেন শোর। স্টিফেন শোর যেটি বললেন যে তার এই বইটি রচনার পেছনে, লেখার পেছনে যেই উৎসাহটি সবচেয়ে বেশি ছিল, সবচেয়ে অনুপ্রেরণা ছিল, সেটা ছিল তার বাবা মার থেকে। এবং তিনি মনে করেছিলেন তার মার জন্য তিনি নিজেকে ভাগ্যবান মনে করছেন, যদিও তার মা কোনো প্রফেশনাল ছিলেন না, সাইকোলজিস্ট ছিলেন না কোনো পেশাদার ব্যক্তি, কিন্তু তার মায়ের অনুপ্রেরণা থেকে তিনি কিন্তু বইটি লেখার ক্ষেত্রে তার মায়ের জার্নি থেকে তার সেন্সরি ইন্টিগ্রেশন করার পদ্ধতিগুলো নানাভাবে তার মা করেছেন, হয়তো জানতেনও না যে সেটি সেন্সরি ইন্টিগ্রেশন, সেই জিনিসগুলো থেকে তার একটি জার্নি এবং অটিজম কমিউনিটিকে সাপোর্ট দেওয়ার জন্যই কিন্তু স্টিফেন শোরের এই বই লেখার প্রথম অনুপ্রেরণা। আমরা এরপরে নেক্সট we are going to Saima Wazed for next question regarding the autism, what the said the Stephen Shore. And Ms. Saima Wazed is working in the field of autism and the advocacy and awareness regarding the autism in Bangladesh for many years. Now my questions to Saima Wazed: in your eyes, how has the scenario of autism changed in Bangladesh when you started your journey, and nowadays what change you have seen? Ms. Saima Wazed.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. First of all, let me thank everyone for being here today, for all our speakers and our special guests. And it's just such a pleasure to finally have the opportunity to launch this amazing book, to share your journey, Stephen, with people in our country. And like one of our reviewers, one of our parents and former employee of Shuchona, Nigar Rahman, had mentioned in the beginning, was very much being able to identify everything that she went through with her son, and to be able to relive all of that by reading your book. And we talk a lot about having differences in culture and language, but when you speak and when you're in the world of autism, it doesn't matter which country you are, whether you are in two ends of the world, journey is the same. The challenges are the same. The suffering and the stigma and the prejudice that parents experience is the same. And that is essentially what you said. So when we started, I am not an expert on autism. I didn't do research. I didn't do specialized training in autism. What I did was attempt to learn about it first as a psychologist, because I had cases where I struggled to identify what a child really needed, what was going on with them. And the best trainings that I ever received were those provided by somebody who had a loved one, who had not just a professional experience, but a personal knowledge and personal experience. And when we started in Bangladesh, the inspiration came from families, from parents, by meeting parents and learning about the many, certainly the prejudice, but the struggles in things that were so accepted and commonplace in other places that were missing in our country. What struck me the most was the sense of hopelessness that parents had, that there was this tremendous big wall, which is, your book is called Beyond the Wall. And how do you how do you either break down the barrier, that wall that exists within not just the larger society? It's like a world that a life that exists outside everybody else's life, but just even within their own families, within even sometimes immediate and extended families. That's what families were facing. And so there's this desperate cry for help, and a big lack of understanding even among experts. This is what actually started me, what drove me, what inspired me, because I had the opportunity to shine a light on this, to share that journey because of the platforms and opportunities that I had. And for me, I am not at all satisfied just where we've come. I hear sometimes about that things are changing, or that there is greater acceptance, but till every parent can come to me and say, yeah, no, I can take my child wherever they want to go. I can take them to wherever school they want to go to. I can take them to all social events. And there's nobody who's going to say something hurtful about my child. The day that happens is the day I will say, yeah, I think we've made a difference. So I think we've only gotten started in Bangladesh. There's so much to do. We have experts have to do it, policymakers have to do it, parents have to do it, persons of the spectrum have to do it, because it is also a responsibility to showcase what it is to be, to have a different approach to life, to have a different way of solving, to just be a little bit, to have the ability to look and experience life a little bit differently than most people do. And I hope, you know, with this book, perhaps if more people read it and they understand it, I think it will be another small step. But if I feel like we have begun to make a little bit of difference in Bangladesh, is that we have organizations like the World Food Programme in Bangladesh incorporating it into their work and their agenda. We have within the disability platform and acceptance that autism is going to be a challenge, but it's going to be included. We have our policies that are there that provide the framework to make those necessary changes. So I think we have come far, but not far enough.
Thank you, Ms. Saima Wazed for the words. And সাইমা আপা যেটি বললেন যে আসলে দেশ কাল পাত্র ভেদে অটিজমের জার্নি কিন্তু সব জায়গায় সবখানে সমান। স্টিফেন শোরের জার্নির সাথে নিগার রহমানের জার্নির যে একটি মিল রয়েছে, সেই মিলটিকেই কিন্তু তিনি তুলে ধরলেন এবং বাংলাদেশের কাজ যখন তিনি শুরু করেছেন তিনি বলেছেন যে এখনো আমরা শুরুর ভেতরেই আছি, উই আর অলরেডি ইন দি স্টার্টিং প্রসেস। আমাদের পলিসি মেকারদের অনেক কিছু করার আছে, আমাদের এক্সপার্টদের অনেক কিছু করার আছে, প্যারেন্টসদের অনেক কিছু করার আছে এবং আমাদের প্রত্যেকের প্রফেশনালদের প্রত্যেকের কিছু করার আছে। আর সবচেয়ে বড় যেই কথাটি উনি বলেছেন, যেটি স্টিফেন শোরের সাথেও মিল রয়েছে। স্টিফেন শোর বলেছিলেন যে তার অনুপ্রেরণার উৎস হচ্ছেন তার মা, তার প্যারেন্টস থেকে। এবং সাইমা ওয়াজেদ তিনিও বললেন প্যারেন্টসদের সাথে যখন তিনি কথা বলেছেন তখনই তিনি অনুভব করেছেন তাদের জন্য, অটিজম বৈশিষ্ট্য সম্পন্ন সন্তানদের জন্য কিছু একটা করতে হবে। এটাই কিন্তু তিনি বলেছেন। এবং আমরা বলতে পারি যে ওয়ার্ল্ড বইটির কথা তিনি বারবার বলছেন, যে বইটিকে আমরা আসছি বিয়ন্ড দ্য ওয়ার্ল্ড, অর্থাৎ এই যে আমরা রবীন্দ্রনাথের ভাষায় যদি বলি যে চিত্ত যেথা ভয় শূন্য উচ্চ যেথা শির, জ্ঞান যেথা মুক্ত যেথা গৃহের প্রাচীর, আপন প্রাঙ্গণ তলে দিবস সর্বরী, বসুধারে রাখে নাই খণ্ড ক্ষুদ্র করি। অর্থাৎ সেই প্রাচীরটিকে ভেঙে আমরা সকলে যেন একটি সমান ইকুইটেবল সমতার পৃথিবীতে পৌঁছাতে পারি, সেই বক্তব্য কিন্তু দিয়েছেন আমাদের সবাইকে। ডিসেবিলিটিকে পেছনে ফেলে নয়, সবাইকে সামনে নিয়েই আমাদেরকে এগোতে হবে। নাও আই এম আস্কিং দ্য সেকেন্ড কোশ্চেন টু ডক্টর স্টিফেন শোর. What is the main takeaway message you want to readers to have after reading your book? What the takeaway message your readers take home in their home after reading your book? Please, Mr. Stephen Shaw.
Yes, before I get to my takeaway message, I just want to emphasize a few things that Saima said, some very important things, and that is around the world. I have been to 52 countries to talk about autism. And what I have found is that no matter where I go, autistic people are the same. And added to that, so are their parents. And so are people who strive to support autistic individuals. So what is the difference? The difference lies in awareness and education. And that is what I am seeing some great strides in, helping society understand what autism is and to learn to work with the characteristics of autism, to focus on the abilities, to turn away from looking at autism as a series of deficits, disorder, and disability, and asking the question, what can the autistic person do? Nobody makes a career, autistic or otherwise, out of remediated weaknesses. We all focus on our strengths and our abilities. And because autistic people have such a widely varying skill set, which means the things we're good at, we can be incredibly good at. And the challenges we have, they can be significant and we can need a lot of support. It's even more critical that we find ways to identify, access, and employ those strengths. So what I want people to take away from my book, two things come to mind at this point. One is that the potential of autistic individuals is the same as everybody else. It's unlimited. And it's up to us to identify and to promote those abilities and promote that potential. The second thing is the incredible diversity that we find in the autism spectrum. And in fact, I often wonder if the diversity inside the autism spectrum is greater than what we find outside of the autism spectrum. And in that way, I often say, if you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person.
Thank you, Mr. Stephen Shore. স্টিফেন শোর যেটি বললেন যে তিনি দুটো টেকওয়ে মেসেজের কথা এখানে উল্লেখ করেছেন। তিনি পৃথিবীর 52টি দেশে কিন্তু অটিজম নিয়ে কথা বলেছেন এবং সেখান থেকে তিনি প্রথম বলেছেন যে অটিজম বৈশিষ্ট্য সম্পন্ন মানুষের ভেতরে যে পটেনশিয়ালিটি আছে, তার ভেতরে যে সক্ষমতা আছে, তার ভেতরে যে একটা জেমস আছে, সেটাকে যদি আমরা বাড়িয়ে তুলতে পারি, তার উইকনেসের দিকে আমরা গুরুত্ব না দিয়ে তার সক্ষমতার দিকে আমরা গুরুত্ব দিতে পারি, তাহলে সে সেম অ্যাজ আদার পিপল, সে অন্য মানুষের মতোই কিন্তু সমাজে মূল স্রোতে সক্ষমতা নিয়ে কাজ করতে পারবে। আরেকটি জিনিস তিনি বলেছেন, সেটি হচ্ছে তাদের ভিতরে একটি অত্যন্ত ডাইভার্স একটি বৈশিষ্ট্যগুলো রয়েছে। ডাইভার্সিটিটা, এই বৈশিষ্ট্যগুলোর যে প্রকরণ, তার ব্যাপ্তি, সেটি শুধু বাইরের ডাইভার্সিটি নয়, সেটি শুধু বাইরে থেকে দেখা বাহ্যিক নয়, সেটি কিন্তু তার অন্তঃকরণে, তার চিন্তায়, চেতনায় প্রত্যেকটি অটিজম বৈশিষ্ট্য সম্পন্ন মানুষ আলাদা এবং অত্যন্ত, আমরা বলবো, ডাইভার্সিফিকেশন যুক্ত। এই দুটো বৈশিষ্ট্যই তিনি বলেছেন এবং তিনি এটিতে এমফেসিস করেছেন যে অটিজম বৈশিষ্ট্য সম্পন্ন মানুষের সক্ষমতার দিকে যেন আমরা মনোযোগী দেই, তার দুর্বলতার দিকে নয়। Now I'm asking to Saima Wazed again another question. Then how would you describe the major achievement of Bangladesh in this field of autism? There are some achievements also, we have some limitations and weakness also, but I want to hear you from some major achievements within few years of Bangladesh regarding in the context of autism and other disabilities.
I think in Bangladesh, one of the things that, the core thing that we have achieved is a national awareness and awakening to the fact that that autism is not just persons on the autism spectrum are supposed to be part and parcel of society, part and parcel of their lives. That belief system that there should be more acceptance, there should be more assistance, there should be more opportunities. How it's going to get done is not there, but certainly the fact that we as a country are beginning to wake up and recognize that. There are many social issues from the short time that we started the awareness, and we didn't, started this journey with many parents, and many parents who are also experts working in isolation. Now we see the big differences where there's people from different specialties, different parents who are accepted as experts, who are sitting side by side with professionals and other stakeholders, and able to give their input. In many countries, that's still an impossibility, but we've been able to break down many of those barriers that were preventing this conversation from happening. The fact that we have a strategic plan that's not just limited to one sector, the education sector, or just the maternal health sector, or just any within the health system, but crosses across 20 different, every aspect of life, that there's part and parcel that we have a strategic plan that does that, is important. That doesn't mean having the plan or having the policy that things are changing, but having that means we have the bedrock, the foundational pieces there that we can build upon. It is, it is a very complex social, economic issue to address. And, every country, if you go to every country, struggles trying to decide, okay, what interventions, what parental support, what educational support, what awareness, what employment opportunity, what actually needs to happen. Nobody really knows, has all the answers. They may have really good institutions, they might have some policies, but they're always still struggling as far as when you see it from a point of view of somebody on the autism spectrum. There's still barriers that exist for them to really be able to fully be who they have the potential to be. So I think a biggest achievement for Bangladesh is that even though we're going slowly and we have many of our challenges, we're not shying away from those challenges. We're willing to address it. We have the foundational foundations placed in order to be able to do it. And for events such as this, we have we have an event like this at a platform where we have persons on the spectrum who are speaking for themselves, parents who are speaking for themselves, and somebody like politically as high level as the Speaker of the House in the same platform speaking about it. And, that willingness from the topmost echelons of our political and government system being part and parcel of this discussion, that I think for Bangladesh is the biggest achievement, because, it makes a difference to bring these important people together as always the biggest challenge. And that, I think, in Bangladesh, what is the most beautiful, that we have that. In our World Autism Day awareness events, our Disability Day awareness events, we have a prime minister and ministers going and participating on a regular basis. So that sort of awareness and acceptance is the biggest struggle in many countries. And here we have them doing it voluntarily and willingly. So I think that I can say it would be one of the biggest achievements that we have. And I hope what's going to happen is, like Stephen, you said, your book, your journey, being able to add that to this mix where, like Dr. Hilal said, as an expert, has many years working on this, but even for him, reading your book opened his eyes to so many things. And that's what happens to us experts, right? We are reading these books, we're reading their diagnostic techniques, we're reading about interventions, but we don't really know what the journey is. But your book allows us an insight into that journey, into what it's actually like, so that we know we can change how we think about it. We can have a moment to be able to experience it.
Thank you, Saima Wazed, for your kind words. সাইমা ওয়াজেদ যেটি বললেন সেটি হচ্ছে যে আসলে আমাদের দেশে শুধুমাত্র স্বাস্থ্য ব্যবস্থার ভেতরেই আমরা এই অটিজম এবং অন্যান্য ডিসেবিলিটি ইনক্লুড করিনি। এটি মাল্টি সেক্টরাল অ্যাপ্রোচ, 20টির বেশি মন্ত্রণালয় বিভাগ কিন্তু এটির সাথে সম্পৃক্ত, এবং এটি নিয়ে আমাদের একটি জাতীয় কর্মকৌশল রয়েছে, যেই কর্মকৌশলটিও কিন্তু শুধুমাত্র তার ম্যানেজমেন্টের ভেতর সীমাবদ্ধ নয়। এই কর্মকৌশলটি তার এমপ্লয়মেন্ট, তার লাইফ কোর্স অ্যাপ্রোচ জুড়ে কিন্তু এই কর্মকৌশলটিকে রাখা হয়েছে। এবং বাংলাদেশের সবচেয়ে বড় অ্যাচিভমেন্ট হচ্ছে আমাদের সর্বোচ্চ নীতি নির্ধারণী পর্যায়ে থেকে আমাদের মাননীয়